Hello everyone. The purpose of this video is to go over the Humanist Literature homework assignment and hopefully provide some clarification on what can be a very difficult topic. The excerpts included in this assignment are by no means easy to understand, so hopefully I can provide some clarity. So just to start off, this is the background reading on the birth of humanism, and the question asks, what is humanism and what inspired this movement? So humanism essentially is the idea that humans are capable of achieving whatever they set their minds to. It's about the glorification of what it means to be human, celebrating the human anatomy, celebrating the human potential. And the founder of humanism is Petrarch. And essentially, what's happening is he's walking through the remnants of the original Roman Empire and commiserating a world that once had all of these miraculous feats of human achievement. Colosseums and pillars and buildings and architecture, aqueducts, bathhouses that people have forgotten all about. People have forgotten how to create cement. They've forgotten how to build these massive structures. And really, humanism is about looking in yourself and realizing that you too are capable of accomplishing this. It's also about destiny as well, reflecting on who you are in the world, what your purpose in life is, and that you really shape your own fate. Your life is not guided by God or some religion or some divine presence. For primary source A, this is from Africa, also from Petrarch. The question asks, what is Petrarch expressing grief about? And he says, nowhere is Rome less known than in Rome. So essentially, he's arguing that the people that he's coming into contact with and meeting are the ancestors of these ancient Romans who accomplished all of these amazing things. And now we seem to be living in a world where virtue, or many of these virtues, have seemed to disappear. He follows by saying, for who can doubt that Rome would rise again instantly if she began to know herself once more? If we were to learn about these ancient Romans and look at this past and learn about ancient architecture, we too could mirror or accomplish what they once did. Primary source B should look familiar. This is from the Decameron, and the question asks, how does the language of this work reflect the thinking of the Renaissance? So in this work, it says, intelligence can rescue the wise man from the gravest of dangers and restore him, to safety and security. So going through the Black Death, this period of misery and death and horror, the answer to combat these challenges is learning, is thinking. So this is really a quintessential example of the Renaissance, where you have people who are going through these struggles. In the Middle Ages, they would have equated it to, God or religion or God being angry with humans. Everything was mapped out by faith. Instead, look in yourself, use science and reason to question why this is happening. Only through intelligence, being smart, can you save yourself from this danger. Primary source C is a very famous one. It is from the Divine Comedy, specifically the first portion, which is known as Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno is infamous for really becoming like the modern depiction of like the Christian hell or afterlife for people who have done bad deeds, where basically you're moving through these different circles and your punishment in death equates to what you did in life. And that really lines up with humanist thinking too. Humanism is all about living a life of virtue and then ultimately being rewarded by being a good person. In this excerpt, you see the protagonist or main character is walking through the circle of hell, and he comes across someone nicknamed Hog, and they're there because of their greed in life. It ends by them saying, tell me, what is it to be for the citizens of Florence, and whether there are honest among them, and for what reasons are they torn by hate? And this apparition who he meets essentially says, after many words are given and taken, it shall come to bloodshed. White shall rise over black and fight Satan's forces, battered and shaken. Meaning that people are confronted with all of these personal desires and ambitions. Think of like Machiavellianism, and they give into these things and then ultimately have to pay the price in the afterlife. And that's what humanism is all about. And again, how does this mirror Renaissance era thinking? Think of the Renaissance and the Reformation, all about living a good and virtuous life to be rewarded. Those who do not, as seen in the case of Dante's Inferno, are punished. So moving into the Reformation and our more recent lessons, take a look at primary source A. This is from Sir Thomas More's Utopia. And just to show you a quick bit of the editor's note here, It says the book tells the story of a fictional island called Utopia that strives to be better than European society. So during this time, the Catholic Church is being questioned for its sale of indulgences, its hypocrisy, financial corruption, etc., etc., etc. And you're also seeing during this period a lot of cruelty and ambition. Think of like Machiavellianism, people doing whatever it takes to win out power or be superior or be in control. And in Utopia, none of that is necessary. Um, so it says here the Utopus, the founder of the island that had conquered it, brought the rude and uncivilized inhabitants into good government and inspired them such a high level of politeness that they now far excel all the rest of mankind. So they've like kind of superseded this selfishness, this ambition. They think it is just for a man to pursue his own advantages as long as the law allows it, which is what you're seeing during the like in the city states in like the Machiavellian period, which you're seeing in the Reformation with priests and monks taking advantage of people. They think it is unjust for a man to seek pleasure by snatching another man's pleasure for him. Again, that's quintessential Machiavellianism. And it also ties to the Reformation too. The church is prospering or making money off of the fears of citizens. So that's where it really lines up there with that. And finally, in primary source B, perhaps the most complicated, and you'll read this likely at school, Hamlet by William Shakespeare, which is a really like deep psychoanalysis of a character. And it asks, how does Renaissance thinking give rise to playwrights like William Shakespeare? In addition to breeding creativity, it's also a period of self-reflection where people really start thinking about their own place in the universe. What does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to die? What does it mean to live a life of meaning? And here you have Hamlet wondering about his place in the world, to be, to live, to die, to not be alive. That really is the question. Is it worth all of this pain and anguish to still be amongst the living? And then essentially he equates dying to sleeping. What influences of the Renaissance appear in Shakespeare's Hamlet? Again, you're really seeing a lot of these ideas here where he's wrestling with the ideas of morality. Does he take his own life? Does he continue living on even though the world is such a cruel place? Does he take his uncle's life, who in the story has murdered his father and now has married his mother? So again, a lot of these different ideas are circulating, all essential parts of both the Renaissance and the Reformation. If you have further questions for me about humanist literature or humanist writing, just let me know and we can take a quick look at this again together.